Prepare to meet a few members of the clan. Mischievous monkeys, intelligent apes, and a cast of strange and enchanting little cousins. This is the story of our closest relatives on Earth. From the mighty gorilla to a primate so small it could fit in the palm of your hand, we're all part of the same amazing animal order. Today, there are over 400 different members of our primate order. They are unrivaled acrobats, doting parents, and some of the smartest creatures in the natural world. So how did primates become so successful? We're on a journey to retrace the astonishing rise to power of our very own primate family tree. It's a journey that takes us to the jungles of the Americas. Here, they would evolve to be unlike anywhere else on Earth. Prepare to meet some of your closest relatives. "29 million years ago, across the continents of Africa and Asia, the primate family was flourishing. From monkey troops that rule the mountains to tiny forest hunters that stalk the night. The primates here adapted their bodies and minds to master the diverse landscapes. But Asia and Africa are only part of the story. Monkeys began to expand into a brand new world.
The final continents to be colonized by our primate relatives were the Americas. When these ancestors first stepped foot on these shores, they discovered an unexplored jungle paradise, a land where they could run riot.
The vast forests of the Americas are the perfect monkey playground.
Today, there are more monkey species here than the rest of the world put together. In these forests, they evolved amazing adaptations that can't be seen anywhere else on Earth.
Over 150 different species live in these jungles. And of their many wonderful adaptations, there's one that truly sets monkeys of the Americas apart from their cousins. They evolved a radical new way to move through the canopy. To see this amazing adaptation for myself, I've come to a rescue center in Belize that's home to a particularly cheeky little character.
This little guy is a spider monkey, and as you can see from the way he moves, He gets his name because of those long limbs. He looks like a spider, the way that he clambers around these trees.
He's perfectly at home in the trees, and that's largely thanks to one key adaptation.
The thing that makes him really amazing is that tail.
These spider monkeys have evolved a tail that puts most other monkeys to shame. Their prehensile tail is so flexible, it can wrap around the thinnest of branches, giving them a secure grip while high up in the canopy.
But look at that curly tail. It grabs onto everything as he moves. He's just amazing.
The end of its tail is packed full of nerves, so it can carefully feel its way along the branches. Having such an amazingly sensitive, gripping tail is totally unique to monkeys in the Americas.
Our little monkey's really quite tentative as he moves across the branches, but he's really only just learning the ropes. It's only when you look at the adults that you realize how perfectly adapted they are to life in the treetops.
It takes time to learn how to use such an impressive fifth limb. But the adults have mastered it. They make jungle gymnastics look so easy. Their curious tails even have a bare patch of skin at the tip, much like the palm of a hand, for a more precise grip. But most importantly of all, the monkeys here evolved tails far stronger than anywhere else on Earth. They're so powerful, they can support their entire body weight. In these dense forests, the spider monkeys use their tail as an extra limb, and this makes swinging through the branches look easy. But these monkeys have another special adaptation for moving through the jungle. Unlike virtually every other primate, their hands have no thumbs at all. Early explorers thought their lack of thumb was a sign that these jungle swingers were very primitive monkeys. But in fact, this couldn't be further from the truth. Their hands have carefully evolved to only have 4 long fingers and no thumb, which could potentially snag on the branches. This makes the perfect hook to swing from. With their unusual hands and that powerful tail, they make canopy acrobatics look effortless. In this new jungle world, monkeys began to adapt in other unusual ways. Ways that would alter the path of our family's history forever. The primate family tree is made up of a number of key branches. There are weird little lemurs, super smart apes, and the largest group of all, the monkeys. But around 35 million years ago, the monkey branch split into two very separate groups when a few pioneering characters from Africa ventured across to the jungles of South America. Tucked away on this distant continent, the monkeys here began to adapt in weird and wonderful ways. Today, they're known as the New World monkeys, the most diverse and bizarre branch of all. In these rich, dense forests, the challenge of traveling through the jungle led to a novel evolutionary adaptation. But the gripping prehensile tail was only one of the solutions. There's a troop of treetop daredevils that have evolved a particularly explosive way of springing through the thick canopy. At first light, the troop starts to wake. A family of sleepy squirrel monkeys. Once they're up, it's mayhem in the canopy. These squirrel monkeys live in big groups of up to 75 strong. Moving through the canopy en masse, these bright-eyed little scamps hardly ever sit still. Spending their day trying to snatch up insects, or battling with their friends for fruits. For them, leaping fearlessly amongst the branches over 130 feet high is easy. So what allows these little acrobats to jump with such death-defying precision? Firstly, their fingers have tiny fingerprints, just like ours, which is an adaptation to provide a more precise grip. But their impressive high-wire antics are mostly the product of their legs. Squirrel monkeys were built to bounce. They have short, strong thighs and longer lower limbs. And these frog-like proportions give them remarkable jumping power. They can leap over 6.5 feet. That's more than 7 times their body length. With these leaping legs, they've evolved the perfect way to bounce up and down the canopy in a heartbeat. The New World monkeys came up with novel ways of getting about these dense forests. But having the ability to move through the branches is only one of the trials of jungle life. For monkeys living here, there's an even greater challenge. A challenge that one boisterous character has solved in an ear-splitting way. The howler monkey. To find out why these rowdy howler monkeys make such a racket, I've come to a special reserve in the jungles of Central America where I can get close to a wild troop. And the first thing I discover is they're not nearly as scary as they sound.
The name howler monkey conjures up the imagination to picture some sort of fearsome animal. But they're surprisingly gentle-mannered. Hello.
These chilled characters spend most of their time relaxing and slowly eating leaves. Though they do make the extra effort to pick juicy cashew fruit, which they get everywhere. So why do such gentle souls create such a racket? They live in close-knit groups. This one has an alpha male, 3 females, and luckily for me, I also get a glimpse of a new arrival.
She's carrying a little baby. Oh, it can't be more than 2 months old. And howler monkey babies will stick with their mothers until they're at least a year old. Stay clambered on for safety. And that's what I can see this one's doing right now. Yeah, it's taking a few steps away from Mum. Oh, wow. So this is just a rare moment where this tiny baby will slowly start to try and get used to its surroundings, its environment. But Mum is still close by for safety.
Of all the monkeys I've met, howlers seem to live the most peaceful lives. Weirdly, this tranquility is all thanks to their monster roar. Because their deafening howl is actually a brilliant way of avoiding conflict with the neighbors.
There's something almost quite scary about the way they sound. If you didn't know what howler looked like and you were in this forest, that would definitely keep you away.
Once the big alpha male begins, the rest of the group join in.
You can feel the sound.
Howler monkeys broadcast the loudest call of any land mammal on Earth. It radiates for nearly 3 miles across the canopy. This record-breaking howl is like a territorial war cry that keeps rivals far away from the family. To create this long-distance bellow, their vocal cords are nearly 3 times longer than ours, giving them an extra low voice.
To conquer this continent, evolution pushed the bodies of New World monkeys in ways never seen in their relatives of the Old World. They developed some totally unique tricks. Tails that move like tentacles. Throats that act as long-distance speakers. And super springy, almost frog-like legs. In
time, they evolved into a huge diversity of species that would conquer every niche throughout the dense canopy. On the primate family tree, the branch of the New World monkeys split into some very different groups. The howler and spider monkeys occupy the same offshoot, while on the other branches live many of the smallest members of the family. These tiny characters are able to reach the fruits amongst the smallest twigs in the canopy. But being small in the jungle can be a dangerous business. And one little redhead has come up with an ingenious survival tactic. The golden lion tamarin. They may be tiny, but tamarins are experts at jungle life. These lightweight little furballs have come up with clever tricks for darting through their forest world. Pinging through the branches, they can even land on vertical tree trunks. Unlike most primates, their fingernails have evolved into super sharp claws. This allows these nimble little monkeys to clamber about with ease. But the downside to being small is you're the perfect bite-sized snack for many a jungle predator. Jungle cats stalk these forests, and tamarin families always need to keep a watchful eye. But these little monkeys have evolved a clever way to keep their numbers up. Instead of producing one youngster at a time, like most other primates, they nearly always give birth to twins. Tiny tamarin twins. With two to look after, the parents even share the childcare. Having two babies at a time doubles the chances that at least one little one can be kept safely out of harm's way. For a monkey with so many predators, it might seem strange that they have such bright orange fur. To our eyes, they stand out like a beacon in the green jungle. But the big cats that hunt them are colorblind, so can't easily detect the difference in color between something that's red and something that's green. So although Mum can always tell where the family is, they're surprisingly well camouflaged amongst the leaves. The tamarins have come up with a clever combination of adaptations that have made them masters of jungle life at the small scale. The monkeys of the New World became the rulers of the rainforests. But as they spread further across this continent, the dense jungle gave way to much drier, rocky forest. It's here that I'm hoping to meet one of the most extraordinary characters on this continent.
I'm in northeast Brazil, in a region where rocky canyons meet arid woodland, and this place is just spectacular. And it's also home to a very special member of the family. A monkey that, when it comes to intelligence, is right at the top of the class. To thrive here, they've come up with one of the most brilliant tricks in nature.
Meet the bright sparks of the monkey family, a troop of bearded capuchins. They use their clever minds to find their favorite foods in this dry forest. And this troop has a real taste for one thing: palm nuts. But before they can enjoy them, they face a real challenge.
So this is one of the palm nuts that the monkeys are after. Inside it is a kernel that's packed full of calories. The only problem is that it's encased in this hard outer shell.
And to reach the prize kernel inside, these little capuchins have engaged their big brains to become expert nutcrackers. But first, they need to gather the right tools for the job. Given the choice, they'll start with a stone that weighs half as much as they do.
They look like kids picking up bowling balls that are a bit too big for them. They're really quite funny little things.
They'll try their hardest to carry it to a hard, flat surface that acts as an anvil. That's where the real business can begin.
Here comes the alpha male. He is the star of the show.
This guy is the best nutcracker in the troop. But how many strikes will this expert take?
One strike. Two. And he's got inside. Perfect.
These palm nuts are 20 times harder than a walnut, and cracking them takes some skill. But seriously, how hard can it be?
Okay, the pressure's on. I did see the alpha male crack one of the nuts with only 2 strikes. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah! Here we go. Up there. God.
I begin to draw a crowd of curious onlookers. And at last.
Yes! Finally. So what was that, about 20 hits?
The spectators have been keeping a close eye on my progress.
They are trying to get hold of that. It's my nut.
But not for long. Incredibly, these capuchins don't need to crack nuts. There's plenty of other food around. They just really like them. They'll collect any scraps that come flying their way. And carefully pick the shells clean. These hammerstones weigh at least 2 pounds. So for the smaller adult females, it's harder work.
Looking at the size of that rock and that monkey, it's just amazing that they have this ability. Not only the brain power, but they also have the brawn as well. The males tend to be better at nut cracking because they are bigger and stronger, but in this case we've got a 6-year-old female and she is really giving the boys a run for their money.
But just imagine, she's picking up that rock, which is about half her body weight. So it really is an effort for these little guys. The youngsters can't smash these nuts for themselves until they're strong enough to lift the big stones. But they will start learning and practicing the tricky nut smashing technique at an early age. The young learn by hanging around the adults and closely watch what's going on. They start by practicing with smaller stones. But it's a highly complex operation with many fiddly stages. The palm nut has to be carefully positioned in a dip on the anvil to help keep it in place. Or else, everything will go flying on impact. And if the stone isn't big enough, or not dropped hard enough, the nut simply won't break. Success requires a truly masterful touch.
This level of dexterity is one that's previously not thought possible in monkeys, but here are the capuchins doing it perfectly, and it's just brilliant to watch.
These skillful capuchins have used their sharp minds to conquer parts of the Americas other monkeys simply couldn't reach. The first primates arrived in the forests of the Americas around 29 million years ago. Today, they echo with the loudest calls in the world. Play host to the most agile canopy gymnasts. And this land has given rise to the sharpest minds of all the monkeys. But these New World monkeys would in time receive a very different neighbor. The brightest primate of all.
For a long time, monkeys were the only primate to have made it here from Africa. They had this land all to themselves, right up until about 15,000 years ago, and then everything changed. An ape managed to make the journey across from the old world to the Americas. Humans had arrived.
South America was the last continent to be colonized by humans. When mankind first stepped foot into this jungle world, we had finally become a truly global species. Today, we have outcompeted every other animal on Earth. And that phenomenal success is rooted in our amazing primate family traits. From the way we move, our agility, balance, and power. To our dexterous hands that enable us and our family to use complex tools. We share the drive to fight for resources. These basic primate traits define us and make us who we are. But we have also gone far beyond our primate cousins. Using our big brains, we shape the natural world around us and even harness the power of animals, allowing us to conquer new lands. We have pushed the ability to work together in tight-knit groups, evolving language and complex culture. We've built our own jungles, where we can live in numbers greater than ever before. We are perhaps the ultimate primate in the family that has walked the planet for over 55 million years. Our primate family tree formed 5 key branches. There are ancient lineages, like the tiny carnivorous tarsier, and the lemurs of Madagascar. The monkeys thrive on 2 separate branches, one dynasty in Africa and Asia, while the New World monkeys rule the jungles of the Americas. The final branch is home to the apes, including chimps, gorillas, orangutans, and the most successful global primate ever, us.
Today, there are over 7 billion people on this planet, but our meteoric rise has come at a cost to many members of the primate family.
Our growth is threatening the survival of many of our wild cousins. Across the world, nearly half of all primates are now endangered as their forest homes are destroyed. Only 900 mountain gorillas remain in the wild. And lemurs are the most threatened group of mammals on the planet. But despite the decline, there's still hope. Around the world, there are people working to help our closest relatives. And they're making a real difference. On the island of Borneo, protected forests have been set up to provide a new start for orangutans that have lost their homes. Over the past 4 decades, 40% of the jungle here has disappeared due to deforestation. For each and every orangutan, their future hangs in the balance. I'm lucky enough to join a dedicated team